What is going on, everybody? Alex coming back here with another video. And today, I'm going to be doing my way too early offensive line rankings for the 2022 NFL Draft. Now, the majority, except for one player on this list, has not been adjusted since we just had this first weekend. There's one player where it was just pretty obvious that he did not deserve the place that he was at. So I'll talk to you guys about that in a minute. But without further ado, let's get into the video. No need for a long intro. If you guys are new, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Let's kick it off. Number one, Evan Neal. Dude, I'm going to be honest. My opinion of this was reinforced by the fact that he played unbelievably this weekend. I'm not going to change their rankings until I actually get to see all 22 on them. But there's a couple games I got to see live. This was one of them. He is unfreaking believable. The fact that he started out as well the way he did, because I haven't edited anything except for one player's position on this. Evan Neal is ungodly. You saw the split squat, 6'7", 350 pounds. He was around like 370 last year. So he's continuing to lose a little bit of weight, but he hasn't lost any power, has gained even better movement skills. He's at a great school for them he's been able to be coached by even guys. I mean, I'm not even a big fan of Alex Leatherwood, but he was there being coached by Alex Leatherwood, who was probably looked at as a top tackle in last year's class by a lot of people, even though some of the draft community didn't really think so. But he's played almost every position on the damn offensive line, except like freaking center at this point. He's played right tackle. I believe he played right or left guard, and now he's at left tackle. And he's played at a very high level at all of them, and he's continuing to learn. I used to hate him, and when I first watched his first game, I believe it was against Ole Miss, and it might have been against Texas A&M, one of those two. And I was like, damn, this guy is terrible. And then I watched him against Alabama at the end of the year, big jump in competition as well. And I was like, holy crap, this guy doesn't look anything the same because he progressed so much. And this year just reinforced that opinion. He is my number one player in the draft. He just officially, so spoiler alert, because I haven't said anything about it yet, but he is, man, he's so good. Only issue is that he kind of is a jack of all trades, kind of is a master of everything at this point, but he hasn't had multiple years starting at a certain position, although he has had multiple years starting, which is good. And he did come in to camp at like 380 pounds last year. Might have been even heavier than that, and he lost about 30 pounds, it just shows his work ethic as well. It's a catch-22 because he's also like, he had those weight issues, but he also was able to overcome them. And it wasn't because of his poor decision making, because he ended up working it off himself. Number two, because this is offensive line, because I did not have enough guards to make a list of competitive guards. Tyler Linderbaum. Broshmo and I share this same opinion. He is an excellent guard. I mean, not guard. He's an excellent center, but he could play guard as well. Undersized a little bit, 6'3", 290. Good weight to him, but still, if you're in the trenches with somebody who's around like 330, 340 pounds, you have to be a little bit weary of it. That might limit his ceiling, right? You guys can read all the pluses and minuses there. But, there are a couple things I'd tweak here and there. But for his size, he is very dominant. He has everything that you're looking for. And again, Iowa loves to produce excellent linemen. So he's been coached up very well, can have a big impact year one. I don't think people are talking enough about Tyler Linderbaum. So I can't really get on him for anything. I really can't. Like, look at this. Can clean form up. Really? He's a college center. He hasn't even been coached by NFL level talent yet. And then, he's a little bit small. 6'3", 290. That can also change. Number three, Jaxson Kirkland. I put offensive lineman here, even though he does play left tackle, and I believe he's in his second year playing left tackle. However, he is awesome. He is extremely athletic. He has the versatility at the guard spot because honestly, I thought he played better at guard. That was my genuine opinion. That's why I was saying, dude, this guy could be a really high-end guard for a team that, I would assume the Jets. If he does fall to maybe the Jets' second pick, I would say, hey, he can play guard, worst case scenario, at a very high level. He can also move to tackle because he has that experience as well and play at a very good level as well. I just don't really trust his anchor. He is a little bit light for his height. And we saw this last class. There was a lot of dudes who had a very similar height to weight ratio. But the only thing that gave me pause was the fact that he did look better at guard. He's been continuing to get better and better each year. And the fact that he's so athletic, he has some more room to put on weight. It means the sky's the limit for this kid. So big fan of Jaxson Kirkland. I cannot wait to see more of him. And I didn't put draft grades here yet because I haven't watched everybody yet. So I'm not going to say, oh, well, Kenyon Green is a late first, mid first, because I mean, also, we're looking at him more and more, and development is a huge aspect of projection, right? If I just look at 2019, 2020 tape, you don't get to see them become into themselves this year. That's why we do the way too early rankings, give the more in-depth stuff closer to the draft. You guys will appreciate it. But Kenyon Green here, people say I disrespect him. I don't think I do. I think the draft community is pretty solidified right here. He does have versatility now. As it says down there, he's moving from offensive guard to offensive tackle. That means Texas trusts him. He was obviously the number one offensive lineman on TAMU. So he did stand out from his other competition there. And I mean, look at the size of him. 6'4", 325. He looks bigger than that. You know, we talked about Devontae Smith being weighed in at 175 online. I got inside information that he's playing at 150, right? This dude is 325. There's no doubt about it. I would dare say he might want to be 335. So he is an absolute animal. Saw some inconsistencies in his play, maybe a little bit of control issue post snap processing. And there was just nothing that like wowed me about him. Like the next guy we're going to talk about, Akeem Ekwonu. This dude has some very high heights and very low lows. He and Darian Kennard, which we'll talk about, I believe, possibly after this pick, they're very similar. I don't think they're very good in pass protection on the outside, but man, if they clean that up, but B, if they kick to the inside, these guys could be on another level. Like we talk about Sedarius Hutcherson from, I believe, South Carolina last year on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know, these South Carolina guards are unreal with their strength. This dude flops dudes over. He just like pushes them and they just fly. It is groundbreaking the amount of talent, like physical talent, Akeem brings to here. And that provides a very high ceiling if he can work on his technicalities. And in the run game, I mean, he has a couple flashes of IQ deficiencies. But I mean, again, he is a college offensive guard, probably doesn't have as much time in the room, in the video room, the tape room, as much as maybe he should. But that's something in the NFL that you can work on. And it's not like it is obviously a negative, something that you can work on for sure, but something that I'm not going to say that's a huge negative for me. But again, he just does have some deficiencies, hand work, hand fighting, footwork. And it just means that he's going to take a little bit of time to develop unless you want to kick him to the guard spot, which then he's going to be absolutely unbelievable. Next, Sean Rhyan. Okay, so I lied. We're not talking about Darian Kennard yet. Sean Rhyan, I arguably should be putting higher than Akeem. Arguably. I just think that the fact that Sean has not played guard yet, I think that he could be Hall of Fame level guard, very similar to Tevin Jenkins in this aspect. But I think he honestly moves better, and I'd be moving him up the list if I was going to factor in week 0, week 1, because the offensive line for UCLA has been pretty damn dominant. Again, I don't want to overreact. Pretty poor defenses that they've been playing, but it says 320 pounds right there. I thought this dude was 370. He is an absolute freak. You just look at him. He doesn't look 320. He looks much larger, and he doesn't get pushed back at all. He's worked on his footwork too. So again, he's probably going to be moving up higher on the list when I do my update. But for now, we're going to respect the fact that it has been, I mean, I'd probably putting him close to probably around Kenyon Green level, because he's shown to be an excellent offensive tackle. I would move him up to 3, if not I would say 3. I would say 3. I'm not going to put him above Tyler Linderbaum by any stretch of the imagination, but his development already has given me some like initial knee-jerk reaction. He deserves to be higher on this list. But the reason I fell in love with him, he shut down Drake Jackson. I was looking at Drake Jackson. I was like, who the hell is this tackle? It was Sean Rhyan. Like, it was just unbelievable. Again, he does need to make some more improvements. He's already shown that he's done that against poor competition this year. But again, I think that his upside as a guard could just provide him that, like, hey, I'm going to take a first-round shot on this dude, and if he doesn't work, he's going to work at guard. It's worth the risk, if you know what I mean. There's extra added benefit to there. Apologies about the fact that the colors are god-awful, even though I love the U. Next is Zion Nelson. And the more I realize this is a pretty good class, pretty top heavy though. I don't really know about the depth in this class. I feel like last year's class was more depth heavy, but the tackle class still solid. I would take Zion Nelson in the first. I would say he's very similar to Cross, who that's going to be the guy who we're going to talk about later because I haven't edited this. It was supposed to be where Zion Nelson was going to be talked about immediately after Charles Cross, but he played in a very NFL style scheme. I think that his best fit is on the Ravens because, Derek King, much more mobile. And I think that makes a very positive note on Zion here, even though he did get kind of destroyed against, I think his name's Will Anderson. I should know this by now. I actually follow him on Instagram. But, he's shown progression. He's shown progression. He's a true left tackle. He's played in a scheme with a mobile quarterback. I think he fits in the NFL. I think that there's a lot of upside to him. However, he does have anchor issues. Again, he is a lot lighter. He doesn't have a very big frame. And, it showed even now. So this is a pretty respectable spot for Zion. I think that's where he should be. He's around tackle 3 or 4 for me. And it's just the reason I made it guards and tackles because A, I didn't have enough guards, but B, a lot of these guards are tackles too. It's a very interesting and weird class to judge. Speaking of, Darian Kinnard is another guy who's a tackle who could be a guard. I think he should be. But this dude, he's going to be a boom or a bust, like a complete boom or a complete bust. If you move him to guard, he's going to be unbelievable. I think his post-snap processing could be the only thing that could stop him from being unbelievable. Look at him. 6'5", 345. He is so strong, absolute mauler, and he has room to develop his speed. And he actually has good flashes of a mechanical toolkit. He's able to do correct hand fighting sometimes. He's able to get his hands in the right spot. It's just not enough. Not enough. So you see that here. It's still in the negatives, mechanics, hand placement, pass protection stuff. He's not good in pass pro, but there are minute flashes of it. And that is what makes me kind of sold on Darian Kinnard as like a second rounder, like a late second for me. If you want to use him as a pure guard, we can start talking the late first. But I can't even think about taking him as a tackle. Like a pure tackle, I can't think of it. You would have to take him as like a hopeful tackle, but take him as a guard. He's not very fast either. So I would say watch out on the athleticism part. And this is where Charles Cross factors in. He looks even lighter than Zion Nelson. He has some really good footwork. He has some good hand fighting skills. Like he does have what it takes to be an offensive tackle in the NFL. But man, he's thin as look at him. If you decided to on a picture where you can do it like that where it increases height as well as width, I'm pretty much the same look as damn Charles Cross, and that ain't great, right? Charles Cross is very thin for his size, very thin, and he looks thinner than what he's listed at. He does look around 290, if not lighter than that. He's very fast. He has really good footwork, but man, his anchor is terrible. He had problems against speed rushers with his anchor. And then this last weekend, it was not good. Not good at all. He has not shown any progression. There was major holes in his game. Allowed somebody to bend right around him and just destroy his quarterback. That is where I just added this. And that was my one tweak. He was my number 2 offensive tackle in the class. He's dropped quite a bit. Just because, again, he hasn't shown that progression yet. We will see that as time goes on. And again, that's why I give time before my adjustments usually, but that was a blatant misplacement of him because he showed flashes, but now he hasn't shown any development. Next, Thayer Munford, moving into guard. Really weird. That's probably the one reason I dropped him a lot. He's polished. He's ready to come in the NFL. He'll probably need some more time to get used to tackle again, but his age will limit his ceiling. He should be performing the way he is given his experience in a high-end system, but he's a very long-time starter. So I think that if you really do need a tackle or if you do need a guard, he's there. He's there to be taken. So I like that a lot. Daniel Faalele, he is somebody who I might want to be moving up this list. Again, this is initial. I haven't moved him up at all yet. He is, look at the stats, 6'9", 380. He used to be 6'8", 400 according to TDN, but I don't think he just randomly grew an inch and lost 20 pounds. If he did, cheers. But he actually does have pretty good footwork for his size. He's so raw. He's a pure project here, but he's a lot better than the next dude I'm going to talk about. Actually, JK, there's one more guy. I thought there was only 12. Abraham Lucas, he's another plug and play guy, but there was hints of him moving to offensive guard. I don't think that's going to happen. There's just some bad flashes. He's very hot or cold, and it's like the majority, like 95% of the time, he's consistently good. But then there's just really bad whiffs and stuff there. So just keep in mind about that. Also, he is a little bit light for his size. But yeah, I mean, there's some very high end play from Abraham Lucas. I think that he could be a later round steal. This is the guy I'm talking about. My least favorite player I have scouted so far, Rasheed Walker. I had very hard time putting pluses here. He does have upside. He does actually recognize some blitzes as well as being able to switch off. And he does get in position properly sometimes. But he's just so raw on everything that I'm really shocked that people there was a time where Rasheed Walker was supposed to be like a first round pick this year, like a month ago or two. I think that people have like kind of chilled out on that, but he fell over like 9 times when I saw him. Even the same thing with Zion Nelson. Zion Nelson kept falling over too. But like Rasheed Walker could not stop falling over. It was really concerning to me. I was like, what on earth is this? Penn Sewell had some balance issues. This guy's on another level. And I want to see him be a little more consistent with his strength. I'm going to go over and watch the All-22 on this game against who they play? Wisconsin. Should be a good test for him. So I hope. I don't like any of these players busting out. I love seeing great talent in the NFL, especially because my Steelers need all the offensive line help that they can get. However, I don't know if that's going to happen. But that is going to be the video. We're ending it off at 13. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the far side. Peace.